If you've already watched the first video on this channel, you'll know kind of what's going on here. And I'm gradually uploading the backlog of videos from my Andy Mac Drums channel and shifting them over to this brand new channel. This second video was of me completing a tax return, a UK tax return, back in, I think I uploaded this video in January 2016. So a lot of the information in it is completely out of date. Don't use it as a reference or anything. It's purely for entertainment purposes, and it's just for posterity reasons that I'm uploading it to this channel, so that I've got a full history of every video that I had on the Andy Mac Drums channel that was business related. To cut a long story short, I randomly made this video on my Andy Mac Drums channel. It ended up being probably the most popular tax related video, or certainly UK tax related video on YouTube. And it was kind of the first video and this video that inspired me to make a few more small business tips videos that will hopefully help anyone setting up a small business or becoming self-employed for the first time in the UK. But as I say, the information in this particular video is from 4 years ago, or how you did your tax 4 years ago. So don't use it as a reference now, but hopefully you'll find it interesting. Welcome to the Small Business Toolbox. I've got to do a tax return. No! What am I going to do with all these? If you're anything like the majority of people in this country who are self-employed and you've left it until the very last minute to do your tax return, then you're probably panicking a little bit now, because it's getting quite close to the tax deadline, unless you're watching this after the tax deadline, in which case I don't know, you're probably in prison or something. Don't panic. I reckon we'll have this tax return done in 10 minutes. It's not complicated. I'm going to take you through the figures on the board quickly, and then we'll go onto the computer and fill it in, and it'll be done and dusted. First of all, as I've said before, if you're not sure what you're doing, get an accountant. I'm not an accountant. I've just filled in lots of tax returns. Also, if you haven't already, have a look at the other video I did that explains some of the terminology that I'm going to use on here. The video that I did about keeping accounts and keeping good records to go with your accounts. So at the moment, all we're going to be looking at is 3 numbers. We're just going to be assuming that you're self-employed and you do nothing else, just to keep things simple. Here's your business. I'm going to call my business Andy Mac Drums. And I'm going to say it's had an income or a business turnover of 20k, £20,000. And then we're going to say that we've had some expenses that we talked about in that other video. The link's in the description. Did I mention that? And we're going to split the expenses, remember, into 2 categories. Operational expenses. And we're going to say the operational expenses were 5k, and then we're going to say capital expenses were 3k. So the total of those two was 8k. Okay, so that means for tax purposes, our profit was 20k minus 8k, which is 12k. Now, that is basically everything you need to fill in your tax return, but I'm going to just do a quick calculation, double check that the calculation that comes out in the tax return is correct. So we're going to do a quick calculation. The profit's 12k, our personal allowance, this for the tax year that we're talking about here, is 10k. And by the way, all of this I'm doing on the 2014-15 tax year. Obviously, if you're watching this for a later tax year, they might have changed things. So just double check on the HMRC website or whatever. So we're saying profit 12k. We had a personal allowance of 10k. So the taxable profit is 2k. Tax is at 20%, so 2k times 20% is £100 tax. So that's your tax bill. Now, we've not really talked about national insurance, but I'm going to very, very quickly touch on national insurance. So NI is worked out in a very similar way to tax. Only, for whatever reason, they use a different personal allowance. So again, our profit is still 12k. National insurance allowance, or whatever it's called, for class 4, this is class 4 NI. So the allowance, the lovely figure of £7,956. Why isn't it 10k? So for NI purposes, your NI-able income is that minus that, which in this case would be £4,044. NI is 9%, so it's 9% of that. 9%, which is £363.96. For that tax year, your bill to HMRC is going to be that plus that, which is a total of £763.96. Can you see that? Has it gone off the board? But as I say, you don't need to work all that out. The system will do it for you. All you need is that number, and that number. Let's go to computer and type these numbers in. As I say, 10 minutes is our target. Right, here we go. So I've gone to hmrc.gov.uk/login, and I've got my login box here. As mentioned before, I think I've mentioned it before, if you haven't already sorted a login, you've left it far too late for this tax return, because it can take a good while to get your login through. I don't know, you can maybe speak to them and try and get your username and password before the end of the tax year, but before the deadline. But I think you might be pushing it, to be honest. But anyway, okay, so you would put your username and password in there, which I will do now, and you're not going to get to see that. Right, and now we're at this little security warning message. We'll just go next. And a new thing that they've introduced is like a two-factor authentication code thing, where it sends a code to your mobile phone to log in. So I'm going to type in the code that's just popped up on my mobile, and here we go. I'm logged into the system and ready to view my self-assessment and complete the tax return. So here we go. We then just click complete return. Here we are in the main tax return screen. So all we do, click start. If this page isn't already filled in, you're going to complete all of your personal information, so your name, national insurance number, phone number, address, date of birth, marital status, all that sort of thing. Nice and easy. Do that, and then click next. And then we're on to the tailoring your tax return bit. So this is a bit where it will automatically put the correct sections into your tax return depending on what you did in that tax year. So all we're saying is that we were self-employed and we've done nothing else. So were you an employee, director, office holder, or agency worker? We're saying no, you weren't employed by a company, you were self-employed. So we're saying, were you self-employed? Yes. How many businesses did you have? We're just going to say one for now, and I'm going to do Andy Mac Drums. And were you in a partnership? We're saying no. Did you receive income from UK property? Nope. Foreign income? No. Capital gains? No. Okay, so we've just got that one self-employed business there. Did you receive interest? Well, you probably maybe did, but for the purposes of this, we're going to assume that you haven't had any interest on bank accounts, you haven't had any dividends, we haven't had anything to do with pension stuff, we haven't had whatever this child benefit. And remember, you can just click on these if you're not sure, you can get help on what these things are Did you receive other lump sums of money? Have you made income tax losses? Pensions from save? Whatever? No. Did you make contributions to a pension? Ha, I wish. Did you give to charity? Again, you know, if you've done gift aid payments and stuff like that, then you would put yes, and then you could fill all that sort of stuff in. We're just going to keep it simple for now, but no. Were you born before 1935? No. Do you want to claim other tax reliefs? No. 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 Right, so we're now ready to fill in the return. Let's see how quickly we can do this. Did you have an annual turnover of more than £81,000? I wish. No. Right, all of these are normally non-applicable. You can read through them if you want. I'm just clicking the none of these apply button. Andy Mac drums, business description, drummer and drum teacher. Postcode of your business address. You would obviously fill in there. Just make something up for now. Has your business name changed? No. For me, because this is an established business, it hasn't started after the 5th of April 2014. If it's a new business, you would put the date that your business started in there, and it hasn't ceased trading, so they can both be left blank. Date your books or accounts are made up to. Well, they're made up to the end of this tax year, or the tax year that we're doing. So the end of this tax year that we're doing this for, 5th of April 2015. Do you use cash basis? Yes. In other words, when someone pays us money, we declare it at the point that we're actually receiving money, not at the point that we're sending an invoice out. So we'll keep that on cash basis. Right, here we go. So first figure from the boxes that we were talking about earlier. Business turnover, £20,000. These are just made up figures for the purposes of showing you how to do this. Any other business income not included? Nope. How would you like to record your expenses? Just a single figure, please. I think you only have to do it as a detailed breakdown if it's more than like some crazy amount, like 80 grand or something. I can't remember. Anyway, so we're just going to put them in there. So this is your OPEX expenses that we talked about, 5,000. There we go. So look, it's automatically reducing net profit to 15,000. Next. Annual investment allowance. This is a CapEx figure that we talked about. £3,000. Allowance for small balance of unrelieved expenditure. Nope. Other capital allowances. Nope. Total balance. Yeah, none of that. And there you see it's taken the business profit down to 12,000, which is correct. Goods or services for your own use? No. Loss brought forward? No. Any other income not included? No. Next. Loss from this tax? No, we're not doing any carrying forward of losses or anything like that. Deductions and payments, blah, blah, blah. Are you exempt from paying class 4 NICs? Don't think so. Any other information? No. There we go. That's it. Almost. Next. Underpaid tax from other years. If this figure is not correct, select. I hate the way they do these like double negatives. Click no. And you'll be given a check. If the figure's not correct, so in other words it is correct, so that's fine. Underpaid tax. Is this yeah, okay. Outstanding debt in your tax code? What? Next. 0. Who will be receiving... Oh, okay, so this is if they owe you money. Who's it going to be paid to? It'll be paid to me, please. And then you would put in your bank details. Right, so then we're on to if you're £3,000 or less, do you want it collected through your tax code? No, or something? No, I don't want that, I just want to pay it. Please note, you do not need to enter any payments on account. No, nothing. If you provided your services through a service company, no, we didn't. Did this return contain provision like estimate figures? No, these are accurate figures. Remember, you've worked it all out already. You have proof that your figures are correct in your records that you've kept, haven't you? Any other information? Do you want to put an attachment on? No. And guess what? That's it. Look, 90% complete. I would now go next. And look, this has now worked out how much tax I need to pay. So, total amount due for that tax year would be £763. So if you click on the calculation button there, you can see a breakdown of everything that we've already talked about. So you can see the business profit was £12,000, personal allowance was £10,000, so we're paying tax on £2,000 at 20%, so we need to pay £400 tax, that's easy enough. The national insurance, again, it's a figure that we talked about earlier, 9% on the £4,044, so £363.96. So the total bill due for that tax year would be £763.96, due to be paid by 31st of January 2016. So there you go. This is a comedy bit where you can save a copy for yourself. So you would just click save, because the Inland Revenue think that we're in 1995. Who has a 28.8k dial-up connection? Or even, because 28.8k is older, the normal connection to the internet is 56.6. Come on, this must be 20 years old. Click next and it'll let you download a PDF copy of your tax return. We're not going to do that. We'll just nip back here. You would go next, submit your return, pay what you owe, jobs are good. Done. That's it for another year.
Won't you rub your